Well, welcome once again to the Mint Doors 12 Days of Live Streams, where we are once again bringing you an entrepreneur who blends her success with her well-being. We are honored to have Joanna Scott in the house. Thank you so much for being here with us on this day before the Christmas holiday, basically.
Oh, Merry Christmas to both of you. Thank you guys so much. I'm completely honored to be one of your guests on these fun 2 weeks of live stream. So thank you.
You're welcome. Oh, well, we can't wait to get into it. But first, before we do, a little bit about Joanna. So she is the Business Development Director for Studio 88, along a business that she runs along with her husband. And if you haven't checked them out, and we'll get into how to do that, please do, because they put out some beautiful creative content that will just knock your socks off. But her real mission is in authentic storytelling, which Karen and I absolutely love. We love authenticity. And Joanna loves helping her husband grow the dental marketing agency that speaks human. I love that. So, as an advocate for authentic storytelling, she believes the more we share about the experience that we've walked through, the more it connects us to the world around us. Joanna is also host of a podcast called the Story Project Podcast. It's a video-driven show putting the spotlight on the incredible stories of the dentists we all know and love. And she has been married to her high school sweetheart for 25 years and is the mama to a preteen girl and a 6-foot-tall teenage man.
So true.
Oh, so your life is full of adventure, and we can't wait to hear more from you. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And he is. I was like, you're really not a 6-foot-tall boy. You are a young man. When they hit that height where you're looking up, you're like, oh, okay.
And it seems like it happens like that too. Like one minute they're this little toddler jumping up in your arms, and the next minute they're like this man.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I'm counting down those months, we're in the season for, interviewing for colleges and what do you want to do and all those next steps. And I mean, I don't know, Josh and I, my husband and I were taking a walk today, and I was like, that gap is narrowing. We only have him for a matter of months. We're just going to make this, I don't know, just make these the best months possible and most intentional. So they go quick.
Yes. Lovely. Oh.
Well, it's that word, like intentional. Laura and I, we've had the pleasure of chatting to you in real life over this screen many, many times. And we know that everything you do is kind of very intentional. So our first question, which I can't wait to hear your answers for, what 2 or 3 habits have you had this year, maybe it's a routine, that have really made the difference and moved the needle for you in terms of how you live your life?
Okay. So I'm going to start with some really practical things. And I always look at us, we're one person, spirit, soul, body, right? We're I don't know. I'm not big on compartmentalizing. And so I love practical ideas that will fuel my body and help me, feel rested and rejuvenated and heal my gut. And I know that that's also going to affect my emotional health. So anyways, that's just a little side note. I think we're just all so interconnected. One of my favorite things, I saved up for this, ladies. This isn't something you can, I don't know, maybe put it on your Christmas list for next year. But this year, I purchased an infrared sauna. And it has been a game changer for me. So like regular saunas, it heats your body while the air around you stays unchanged. So they use obviously infrared light. And I was actually looking up today, I was like, what, like on the Mayo Clinic and some other places that talked about the benefits of using an infrared sauna. And you can really get into it every day if you can tolerate it, but they recommend typically 3 to 4 times a week. But some of the studies showed that it can help with conditions like high blood pressure, heart failure, Alzheimer's disease, headaches, type 2 diabetes, arthritis. Personally, I have found that it has helped improve my sleep. It has really, really helped with, me dealing with insomnia. I would say circulation throughout my body, muscle recovery, and then like flushing out toxins. So it's been such a, it's almost like an escape. And my commitment to myself is I at least do it 3 times a week. And I go down there and it's 60 minutes where I'm not working. I'm not doing anything other than being present in that moment and letting myself relax. So that would be my first habit. And I have
Can I ask a question about the infrared sauna? Is it like installed in your house as another room in your house, or is it like a box you get it?
Yes, great question. We had to get a little bit creative, and we finished our basement recently, just within the past couple of years, and we, created a space for like our workout room. And so basically we carved out a little space, and it was installed in there. And so that's where we have it. So we have our workout room, and then we have the infrared kind of all in the same area.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That sounds so good.
That sounds nice. And especially now that we're in this deep freeze, just thinking of like taking some time to heat up your body.
Yeah. Oh, I know. And I don't know. I know a lot of women, like we start, especially if you go work out, I find that my body temperature drops after that really, really fast, especially in the winter. And so it's nice to go in there and just do the whole muscle recovery thing, heat my body back up. And I just leave feeling like, oh, amazing. So that has been really awesome. My other kind of hack for the year, I brought it to, so it's Dr. Kelly Ann's bone broth. She's become pretty famous, but I've never been able to tolerate bone broth for whatever reason. I'm not entirely sure, but just, my gut. And it's really the first time I've been able to drink, something that had collagen in it. And it really helps with inflammation and, helps to also heal the gut. And so this is something that we do. There's just like, individual packets. And you can also make this with, I know you guys, I'm sure. Bone broth is so popular. It's just that for me, I finally found a recipe that was pure and like simple enough that I could tolerate it. So you can put it in, make soups with it, and I drink it just with hot water. And I do that every day.
Nice.
Yes.
Dr. Kelly's bone broth.
Dr. Kelly and her bone broth. It's amazing.
Okay.
And we could always link this in the show notes. I know it's a little bit of a glare there, but
yeah.
So that's my second one. My last one would be, and this is me getting, a little bit more, this is outside of like taking care of my physical self. And this is more like emotional, relational well-being. But I would say this past year, my husband and I started working with a marriage coach, trained clinical counselor. We've been married 26 years. Okay. So we're in it. It's been a long time. We've grown up together. We run a business together, have a family, and we've been through some just challenging, spaces in the last couple of years in our relationship. And instead of staying stuck in a communication rut or ignoring some of the things that we need help with, we've decided to invest in our long-term future, our long-term relationship, and really refine our communication skills during these new seasons we're finding ourselves in. And so we work multiple times per month with this amazing coach who works with like CEO type minded, type A, high achieving couples. And so it's been a bright light in our relationship and in our life. And I would say I possibly have been, because I've been married and have been on the journey and ups and downs, and anyone who's been married longer than a year, that like you go through different seasons with your partner. And I think for a long time, I was cynical about like marriage coaches or counseling until I found this amazing woman. I can't say her name, sorry. I'm not sure. She's also not taking any other referrals. And so we feel super, super like grateful that we just got connected with her. So
yeah,
that is, I don't know. I'll say this, I'll end with this. I think that a truly successful partnership is when two individually healthy, whole people come together. And so a lot of the work that we need to do is work that I need to do on my own, and even work that my husband, Josh, needs to do. And then the more we focus on that, on, bringing our best selves to the relationship, we're just setting our marriage up, to win. And so Yeah, that would be my little, my perspective on over 2 decades of almost 3 decades of spending your life with someone.
That's that's wonderful advice, and I love how you, described the working on yourselves, and yet the other piece of that is that you're working on yourselves together. Like,
Mhm.
you each know, like, there's a common goal, and then you're delegating almost, right?
Absolutely.
So, I think that's so and why wouldn't I mean, any partnership, right? If you think about any great, like, even athletic team, those are partnerships of people, doing something for a common goal. They all have coaches,
Mhm.
right? And so I think it's brilliant. So congratulations. Those are great tips. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah. So, along with habits and daily routines and things that you do, I know you're a lifelong learner and you love to learn. So, maybe you could share with us some of the great books or podcasts or movies or something, that's moved the needle for you or that has inspired you.
Okay. I may have mentioned this book to you both, maybe, I don't know, the beginning of this year. I feel like I might have, but I read this book that I thought would be relevant to this audience and also just has impacted my life. And it's something that I refer back to often. I read this book, Burnout, by and sisters Emily Nagoski and Amelia Nagoski. And I think I talked with you guys about this book.
Mhm.
I just look at it as such an incredible resource for myself and understanding what burnout is and finding ways that I can not continue to slip into those cycles of, the stress cycles. And I would say my one take, I have a lot of takeaways, but just for time's sake, the main thing I would mention is that was most kind of mind blowing to me was understanding that burnout begins with good intentions, right? It all begins with good motivations, with a great vision, a great purpose in mind. I mean, we're all out to change the world in our own way. And I think in the past, I have justified how many hours that I worked per week with the fact that I'm doing something good, right? I'm adding value. I'm taking care of these people. I'm helping, elevate this. So it must be okay. It must be okay that I overwork myself and that I, constantly am dealing with the human giver syndrome and just, just the spiral that I really allowed in my life. And so now this book and conversations with people like both of you it's a great reminder that before I jump into something, even if it's helping someone or an idea that I want to like launch, I pause and I have to evaluate, wait, what is my what does my time allow for right now in this present season, in this moment? And am I taking on too much because I have that achiever strength and it's just super fun and, boosts my adrenaline, and at my core, is my physical, emotional, spiritual self like really ready to go for it and launch this new project, launch this new, idea, or whatever it is. So I found this book to be, it'll forever be just a resource for me. So I thought I would mention it.
Excellent.
Yeah, it is a very good book. I will second that. And it makes me just think, like, even as you're talking about, I'm like, who else could I give it to? Like, who else do I know that I should be telling about that book?
Yeah.
So thank you for reminding us. So
Yeah.
as we look forward now, we're almost at, the very end of the year. What do you visualize for 2023?
Well, I would say lots of podcasting with a lot of incredible women. I'm just was blown away by the Do Retreat, and I met so many more, just when you think you've met a ton of awesome women, then you meet more and you're like, they're everywhere. There's no shortage. And all of them have stories. And so I'm excited to get into their stories and interview them on my podcast this year. I would say I really want more time for writing. Writing is one of my true loves. So having time for that. Strong collaborations, of course, with other empowered women in dentistry. And then I would say, lastly, I'm excited to work on some really unique content projects with Studio 88 that will be a little bit more like documentaries. So we've got a few things up our sleeve.
I absolutely love watching what you guys do because it's constantly evolving. And I think that's what makes you guys so successful, is that you do push the boundaries, you do grow, you are constantly evolving. And so it's just fun because we never know, what's coming next. Or just when we think, oh my gosh, they can't get any better than this. And then something else comes and you're like, that is so great. So it's really fun to watch you guys be creative. And I can't wait to hear the interviews of the women that you have on your story podcast. So yay, I'm excited. As you look into 2023, I know a lot of us create a word or pick a word or a phrase or a poem or something. Do you do that? And if so, what is your word for 2023?
I do that as well. I almost said, I do that. But then I said, one of my kids would just be like, Mom, really? Did you just say doo-doo? Okay. On the live stream, please stop. So in all seriousness, my word for this year, and this is a very new thing. I would say like a new word. It's not something that's been a part of my personal vocabulary or a word that I use often, but it's margin. And that is, I had this experience, I can tell you it's very fast, at the Do Retreat. And I know I told both of you about it because you were there. And I was listening to, and I was super inspired by Sarah Cannell sharing. And I was just had everything inside of me was coming alive. And I have a dream of writing and publishing a book. And so my achiever brain is just like listening to her. I'm like, it's zinging back and forth. I'm like, okay, this is the year. I'm going to do it. And so I'm actively spinning. I can feel the adrenaline begin to flood my body because I'm getting so excited over, just getting inspired by, this awesome thought leader coach. And at the other time, I had another thought that entered my heart and mind. And it's my desire to step into 2023 with more margin and more peace than I have ever experienced. And so I knew that right then I had that piece of clarity where I knew before I attack the next big, hairy, audacious goal, I need to first make sure that I am creating the type of margin that I want on a long-term basis in my life, that I am not overextending myself, even for the good things, even the visionary things, and that I create at my core, have a regular rhythm in my life of peace and margin. And so I remember after that moment, I knew it. And I walked over to you two and I said, ladies, I am not a dentist. I work in dentistry, but can I work with you? Because I need more tools and resources to help me break out of some of the stress cycles that I have found myself in, throughout my professional career, really, but really in the last 10 years. And so margin is my word. And I'm very, very excited to work with brilliant minds and people like you who have been, in some ways, been where I am, but you've learned how to get out of that. And I'm excited to just, learn everything that I need to learn to get to that place.
That is a great word. And thank you for sharing that story that describes it so well, because as you're telling that story, I can feel in myself the same exact story, different particulars, but the same exact story. I'm sure Karen, and I'm sure our listeners can all identify with that story.
Yeah. That was so good. Like, that was an incredible answer to that question. And people listening to your incredible answers, I'm sure, are going to want to know, where can they find you? Where can they learn more about what you do and what your work is? And what's coming up in the next year. So maybe just share a few of those if you can, Joanna. And Laura's got some banners that are going to whiz across the bottom too. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Studio 88 is dentistry's story-driven marketing agency. So we have a passion to help dentists and dental entrepreneurs all over the nation create brands and, that that stand out, that get attention, that help you attract your soulmate client. And so our core services are branding, websites, digital ads, social media. And so our why is we really, really want to elevate what dental marketing has looked like in the past and overall, in the profession, and do something different, do something unique that puts the spotlight on your story. And so you can find me personally at Joanna F. Scott on Instagram, and also at joannascott.com. Either place. I do love Instagram. I love the gram. It's fun. And then Studio 88 at Studio 88, and I think it's on the banner down there on Instagram. We have an active social presence. And then s88.com is our site, and you could reach out there as well. And we are very prompt responders. So.
Awesome. So yeah, we will put all of these websites and links in the show notes below, but please do check out, if you're a Gram user, you'll love their stuff on Instagram, and visit their websites, both Joanna's and Studio 88's. And don't forget to tune in to Joanna's podcast, the Story Project podcast, and be inspired by some of the amazing stories she's going to highlight this year. And we will, of course, have the link to the podcast in the show notes below. So thank you for sharing your insights and wisdom with us. It's always a pleasure to talk to you. I just absolutely love how you bring your real, raw authenticity to every conversation and just share a little piece of your heart every time we meet. So thanks for spending some time with us today.
Absolutely. This was so much fun. This was a treat to do this right before Christmas. Thank you, Bill.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
All right, everyone. Thanks for joining us for another 12 days of live streams. We will be back tomorrow with our last 12 days of live streams. So we will see you then. Bye, everyone.
Bye.